We arrive. Anybody see me? Hello? Well, I think we're live. Well, welcome to the Twisted Mopar Garage first ever live show. Live, real, not recorded. It's not Memorex either. How's everybody? Finally got it to go, I think. Everything going okay? Everybody see everything all right? Okay, I guess we're here. Well, my name is Dennis, by the way. I'm just an old retired guy. I say I'm old, but I'm not that old. But like I said, this is my first live. We'll see how this works out. See if I get some of the chat over here. Looks like we got a few of them in there. Yeah, Dennis the Menace. Yeah, I was named after that. My mom named me correct. And yeah, so. A minute over 34. Yeah, right. These are my grandkids running around back here. By the way, they come to spend the night, so they'll be running through time to time. You might even hear them. I don't know, but anyhow, I wanted to at least try to start a live. I've always talked about having one. I'm not really good at it. I'm not good at my videos, so I kind of figured maybe my lives might be a little bit better than my videos. I don't know, but anyhow, I've been drag racing since about 1978, so that's about the first year I started actually drag racing the car, and it really wasn't much of a car back then. It was just actually just a four-door family grocery getter car is what it was. Started out a little bitty track over in Assumption, Illinois. Raced there for 4 years. Watched that track close down. That was a neat track. It really was. I enjoyed racing there. My first 4 weeks racing there, I won first place. So I done pretty good in the street division of it back then when they had actual street division cars. So done pretty good. Let's see if I can read some of these chats. Let's see. Yeah, don't look a minute over 34. Kids and grandkids are awesome. Yes, they are. I got quite a few. Right around 19 of them, at last count. So, yeah, if you ain't first, you're last, Logan. I see that. So anyhow, I think my first car was a 71 Fury that I actually drag raced with. That's the first car I had. I mean, it was a slow car, but it was very consistent. Raced it every week. And then I moved up to a 74 Charger, and that kind of started my path to really getting into an actual drag car. And I got it down into the 13s. It was a pretty quick car for its times. So they was heavy cars. Them cars were about 3,900 pound cars. Big long hood on them and stuff. So if you've seen a 73 Charger, you know what I'm talking about. Neat cars. And then I moved up into the world of, had a 73 340 car, raced that for quite a little while. And then, I don't know, I built a couple cars. Me and some friends, we built some cars. Had a 65 Cornet 500. I raced that. And that was a 12-second car back in the day. So I've had quite a few cars in my time. Different variations of engines. I've had 318 starting out in a Fury, put a 360 in it. It ran a little faster. The Cornet, it had a 413 in it, and it didn't do too bad for an old 413. Really, it was just ball honed out and ringed and bearing. So there's Philip the Third. How you doing, Philip the Third? Eeyore. There's John. Hi, John. How you doing tonight? Glad to see you all in here. Thanks for stopping in. My very first live. I really don't know how I'm going to go about all of this because I'm not good at videos, but I try. I at least try to show you guys what I'm doing, and I ain't like all the other guys show you every step along the way. I just kind of show you here. This is what I got. I'm going to cut it out. I cut it out and I replace it, and then you see it afterwards. So that's usually what you see in my videos. So Hey, David, how you doing? Well, I'm trying to be myself. I can't be anything else. I can't act silly or nothing, and I'm not a comedian, so I can't make any money there. So I guess that's why I'm poor. I can't do anything else. So you know, kind of work around on old cars and tractors, and I love working on the old tractors. If you guys see any of my videos on my channel, you'll see that I work on a lot of tractors, and they're all old. Most of them are John Deere's, yes. Um, Only because that's the way the boss is. He loves the John Deere tractors, and actually, I'm really good at working on them things. So, not a lot of guys. There's not a lot of them guys left that can work on old John Deere tractors. That genre is pretty much going on the wayside there. The percentage of people that's able to work on them tractors is very slim and none, and far away. So, but I do enjoy working on them old tractors. Thank you, Drew. Appreciate that. I wish I was a rich family. I'm not rich. I'm pretty poor. I retired a few years ago, and some of that was because I had to retire. The injury I had at work was not kind to me, and it took me out for about three years. So it really kind of screwed me up a little bit. So, but I decided that it was time, and if I went back, I probably would have got hurt even worse and been in worse shape. Now I can at least do things and do what I want to do. There are a few things I have to watch and stuff, but other than that, I'm really in pretty good health for my age, and hopefully that hangs on for a while. Like I said, I'm trying to build this dark sport. I mean, I've had it for several years. I mean, neat old car, and it's really pretty solid. It's had some rust, and I say solid, but then it's got rust issues that it had. I put new trunk extensions under this car, and a few little places in the trunk that needed fixed and repaired, and I did all that stuff, and got hit by a riding lawnmower, and I had to fix all that stuff. So I got all the basics down on the car. So I got the engine bay painted and stuff, so it's in good shape. If you go on the videos, you can see that on my videos I got out of the car. So it's come a long way in a short time. Right now it's on hold because heat's something else right now, and the boss is building a whole new garage right through the shop that I normally have my car sitting in. So he's building the garage there, and I can't get the car back in the shop right now. Maybe in a week or two I'll get it back in there. I kind of figure maybe 100, 150 hours I'll put on it, and I should be able to get her in color then. Engine's been a problem, trying to find an engine that's worthy of doing anything with. Everything I've found so far has not been real swell engines, so I'll probably have to have one just run through a machine shop and do it that way. Trying to find something that somebody else has had and run, that's worthy of putting in the cars. It's pretty tough to find right now. Let's see what we got going on in the chat. Actually, how I heard about Dave at DRC is he just popped up into my video stuff, my shorts, and I started watching him, and I got to talking to Dave down there, and I like Dave. I like Dave. I'm sorry to see that he's had this accident, and he got in pretty bad shape there. And I guess it kind of looks like it broke both of his legs, and I guess he was in a horrible mess. So I really do a lot of praying for him to get recovered and get back out and doing what he loves to do too. I couldn't imagine having both legs broke and being in an accident, what he went through. And I couldn't imagine that. I just, I know what it was like for me, and I was down and out, and it's like, I wouldn't wish that on nobody. So, but hopefully he gets recovered good and gets better than ever, really. Cause I'd like to see his car out running too. So even though he's way down in Florida. 7440 with a 727. I've kind of thought about putting a big block in this car, even though it's actually a 344 speed car that I have. I mean, I'd love to have a 340 go back in it, but the prices of the 340 just kind of, I'm sorry, I'm not made of money. I can't do it. And, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna go out and start some kind of fun for me to get an engine. I'll figure this out. And like I said, I bought one motor, it didn't work out, and I thought it was supposed to be a drop-in deal. It wasn't a drop-in deal. It wasn't even close. But man, if you took the oil pan off that motor and looked at it, you go, my God, this thing looked like brand new, and it did. And it looked really nice. You took the oil pan off. You took the heads off. It wasn't too swell. It was all broke and blowed up. Had pieces removed off the top of the piston, so it wasn't no good there for me. So the mission is, I'll probably have to get a motor redone. Just send it through a machine shop. That way I know what I got going on with it. And basically, I'm looking for. I'm not looking for some kind of hot rod. And, I've had that, and you see in my picture there that I had a real nice drag car, a beautiful car. Built that thing from scratch up, turned every nut and bolt on that Duster of mine. So me and a buddy built that car, and it was a nice car. And it served its purpose and everything. I had it for a long time. I hated to see it go, but the health and stuff, it was too much. It was too much for a guy just by himself to try to wrangle around with all the time. And the car sat, and it was just really, really tough to, sit and watch it. Because last time it sat for about 3 years, it cost some money to get it back up and running again where it could actually race and be competitive. So I said I'd vow I'd never do that again to the car, because the car deserves to be run and raced and enjoyed. So that was that. How you doing, first responder? Metal Art Customs, thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. My very first live. I appreciate you all coming in here. I didn't think I'd see all you guys in here like this. That's nice to see. Like I said, I all I can do is just kind of talk about things and stuff. And if there's some kind of question you want to ask me, I'll do my best to answer it for you. And, if there's some question you got about what you got going on, maybe I can help you too. So, hi, One-Eyed, how you doing? Thanks for coming in, man. Yeah, I thought about a Magnum motor. Yeah, I thought about one. And in fact, as a buddy of mine happens to have a 360 Magnum motor. It's in a truck. So yeah, that is something. But I got to look at it. I got to put if I want a fuel pump on it, I got to put a kit on there on the camshaft for it to run the fuel pump, or I have to put electric fuel pump on it, stuff like that. And, putting a regular ECM on a Magnum motor ain't nothing. Just put a distributor in it and go that way. That's not the bigger problem. I'm trying to stay with an LA motor. I really am. I'd rather stay with an LA motor. No, I don't have to, but I'm kind of passionate about the old LA motors. I like them much better. So, and plus I'm really set up for an LA motor. I got camshafts for them. I got intake for it and all that stuff. I don't have to buy a special intake. Yeah, they're out there. You can buy them, but I already have one for an LA. So. Yeah, I heard the camshafts are interchangeable. I have heard that. A lot of people in here. How many people we got in here? I don't know. I'll look to see where they're at. Don't tell me. I guess maybe it would. Hey, Rich, how you doing? Glad to see you in. Now everybody can put a face with a name, I guess. You can kind of say, well, okay, that's that guy. So yeah, you can put a face to me now. So, but so the last car I had, that was probably the nicest car I'll probably ever own. There's no doubt about it. The old Twisted Duster was one beautiful car, set up really nice, had power windows in it. It had the best of about everything you'd ever want. It was carpeted from front to back, and it was still a light car. That car weighed about 2660 without me in it. So it was under 2930 with me in it, fully loaded at the starting line. So it was a fairly light car, and guy could have really lightened it up a lot more. I mean, it had pair seats in there. I mean, it had all stuff in the carpeting. Yeah, guy don't have to have all that, but I wanted the creature comforts of it. And that's how I built it. I wanted power windows. It had regular glass in both the doors. So it was a neat car, really set up nice. And of course, now guys got it for me. I guess he's trying to sell it now. So I guess I don't know what the deal is, why he wants to sell it, but he never took it down the track. Even though when he sold it, it was ready to go. And when I sold it, it was ready to go to the track. I could have took him right to the track and raced that car right then and there. So, but he never, as far as I know, it never made a hit with him in it. So, but I really want to get to something that I can turnkey, get in it and go drive it down the road and enjoy it that way. If I want to take it drag racing, I will. And I will drag race that car. So it will see it. I'm kind of going back to my roots. My old 75 Roadrunner, that's the way I had it set up. It had a set of gears in it, 360. And I drove it to the track every Saturday. I raced it, won lots of money with it. And I had an enjoyable time with it. Let's see what we got over here in the chat. See if anybody's got a question or anything. Hey, Tim, how you doing? Glad to see you in, man. What size of camshaft you running in that Magnum? First responder, what's in what size camshaft? Is it similar to like a 284, 484, something like that? Or do you know? Now, I got a couple LA cams and lifters, so I'm set on cam and lifters. I just didn't want to run a hydraulic roller. I'm just sorry. I know a lot of guys are, but I'm just not a hydraulic roller guy. I get the theory of it and all that, and I understand it, but I'm kind of partial to the old, either solid or the hydraulics. Be interesting to see what camshaft size he's running in that Magnum. My old Roadrunner, the 360 I had in it, it was a real small comp cam. I run in it. It was like a 268H comp cam. I mean, it ran good. I mean, for what it was. It was a very consistent piece. And I drove it to work every day too. That was what was amazing. I'd drive that car every day to work. So go down on Wednesday night and test and tune and jackpot race. And then Saturday, drive it off to work, go down to the racetrack and race it, and have a really, really good time. There's Diecast Dreams in here. Hello, how you doing? How you been? Get your house all straightened up yet? I hope so. I've been busy working on tractors and stuff. Worked on that 1927 Veely. Worked on that. That's a pretty cool old car. I mean, granted, it was probably restored sometime early 60s. I think it's 61 or 62. There's paperwork showing that there was some restoration done to it. But for the most part, most of it's all in the original shape. I've got to drive that car. That 27 Veely is a pretty cool car. Inline 6. It's pretty cool. You guys get a chance, look at that video that's in my video store, and you'll see that that's a pretty cool old car. You know, it's got gear drive on the alternator, and then on the back of the alternator, it drives the distributor. So it's kind of a weird deal. I'd hate to change the alternator, I can tell you that. I'd hate to do a generator there. So it was good. It was good. Yeah. Yeah, they had a good show up there. Yep. I was kind of hoping to have my Dart Sport ready for the No Name Nationals. I was really shooting for that, but I don't think that's going to happen. Had this motor deal that I bought, had it worked out and went in there, oh yeah, I'd been there, you know, with clothes on. So yeah, it definitely would have been there. I mean, I'm looking at maybe bringing something else to actual race down there. We'll see. I mean, possibility there's that black duster that's on my channel. There's a possibility that a buddy of mine may bring it down so I can race it there. So that might be pretty swell if we can get it back here. It's up in Pennsylvania right now. So if he brings it back, maybe I can take it down to the No Names, hammer it out down there a little bit, give just Mopar Joe a little confidence builder. We'll see.
It's like over there, yours.
I'm doing pretty good, Tim. I'm doing pretty good, actually. Things are going on pretty swell. It's been hot here, though. I mean, heat and humidity. I mean, it's normal summer. I mean, you just expect that it's going to be hot and it's going to be humid in summer. It slows me down, obviously, you know, because I can't work on the car. The car's sitting outside. So sitting outside because they're building a building. They have to drive through where I normally have my car in the shop at. They have to drive through the building because we put a new garage door there. So, you know, I can't get my car back in there because obviously they'd hit it. So I don't need more damage to it. So right now it's just sitting outside waiting for them to finish up so we can close that door up and then I can put the car back in there and get back to work on it. But other than that, I mean, I miss getting that done because I know about 100, maybe 150 hours that car be in color and really ready to go. I can do some interior stuff, obviously, and I got most of the interior. So it's just a matter of putting it back. So, like I said, I've tried to sell the car a couple times. I thought, well, you know, if it's going to sit, maybe I can just sell it and go get something else that's already running, driving piece. But that hasn't happened. So I'm continuing on with the Dart Sport until further notice. So eventually you get to the point where if it gets running and driving, I ain't going to sell it. So, you know, it'd be my last car I ever do. So unless I run across a 66 satellite I can get into. I happen to have a passion for a 66 satellite. So I have two flat tablet cams right now. So I have two of them already, and they're ready to go. So they're one's a brand new camshaft, the other's slightly used. So yeah.
It's a gummy. Take it. No. Then you're not getting it.
Whatever you guys do, don't get old. So whatever you do, don't get old or refuse to get old. Even if you get old, refuse to get old. So don't get old. Stay young, stay moving, progress, whatever it is. If you turn 3 nuts, 3 bolts on your car that day, that's progress. So, you know, move along with that. You know, progress is progress. You know, whether it's putting in 3 bolts or putting in an entire front clip, it's all progress. So, oh, One Eye, you ain't old. You're younger than me, ain't you? I'm 9 at heart. Well, I kind of feel like I'm about 44. That's what I feel like. I look like I'm 90, but I feel like I'm 44. But I'm only 66. So they say you're only as old as you feel. So if you're 9, you got a long way to go before you can ever quit now. I was gonna say I thought you was younger than me one eye. I thought you was several years younger than me. Well, I wasn't for sure, but yeah. Yeah. I've been doing this a while now. It's like I tell you one thing I have learned, and it's probably been the last 7, 8 years. I've learned the art of body work and paint, and it was something that I was always scared to do when I was 20s and 30s. So you just bought an old car, and whatever it was is what it was. You didn't do anything. Oh, you might put air shocks on it or something like that, but maybe change a motor. You might do that, but as far as body work, I don't know anybody out here that just jumped right in and say, "Hey, I'm going to do body work." That was a hated passion for most people. So, but I learned it too late in life. Here I am, in the twilight, and I enjoy doing body work. I love painting. I love taking something that's bent, broke, and I try to fix it. So I try to make it look better. In most cases, I do pretty good at it. I'm no professional. I never said I was professional at painting or body work, but I know what looks right, and I'll do that. A lot of work I've done never got paid for. Supposed to, never happened, but that don't keep me from doing it. So I'll keep right on doing it. So vintage adventurer. Well, if you're 25 and you're just starting to do body work, just give it about 5 or 6 years, and everything will be old hat to you. I mean, it'll come right to you. You'll look at something, you'll know exactly how to approach it and how to fix it. Just give it a few years. Stay with it, because body work, that's something that's going to have to be here for a long time. For as long as there's cars, trucks, tractors, semis, somebody's going to have something repaired and fixed. So stay with it, because good body work guys were hard to find, very hard to find. And it's hard to keep them in the field of that. Some of it's because of pay. Pay is, like I said, I've fixed several cars and trucks and tractors for guys and never got paid. That's my fault. I should have been better at it and should have been up on it and watched it. So just, there's ways of doing it now that I do it, and I won't let nothing leave unless it's paid for. And I ain't taking on. Somebody comes up with some money and we'll get started and we'll do it that way. But I'm not working completely for free. I can't. I mean, I have to make somewhat of a living. Social Security is not all that. DRC Garage. How you doing, Dave? How you doing? I've been praying for you a lot. I'm hoping for you a speedy recovery, man. I really am. So I really appreciate you coming in, Dave. I really do. It's my very first ever live show, and I'm kind of getting at a loss as to which direction to go with it, because it's my first. So, it's like the first time you jump behind the wheel of a car, I guess. It's like, well, let's see if we can crash it into the tree, I guess. It ain't crashed yet. Ain't nobody yelled at me yet. So. Well, there you go. You just keep going at it there, Vintage, and you'll get it. You'll get it. You just hang with it. Don't get discouraged. You just hang in there. Yeah, I'm sure that I couldn't imagine having both legs broke. I can't imagine that. Trust me, I've had some medical issues that knocked me down too, and I couldn't imagine that right there. That's that'd take the breath out of you. But you just hang in there. You're going to get better, and everything's going to be good. So Anybody got a question for me or anything? Maybe anything? Danny Boyd. How you doing, Danny Boyd? Well, my darts are sitting outside in the heat. Like I was saying earlier, the place I work at, the boss, he's building a new storage shed right behind where my car sits. So they had to make a doorway to get through there. So they're doing supplies through the shop where my car sits normally. So they're going through there to get to the pieces outside. And so my car would be in the way. So that's why my car's sitting outside. Hopefully in the next week or so, I'll get it back in there. And then hopefully get it ready to sand here fairly quickly. I got the engine bay all done, front end's done, underside of the car's done, the trunk's done up. The last thing I got to do was I sandblasted the underside of the deck lid and underside of the hood, and that's all in epoxy. So I got that part of it done. So really, anything that's on this car right now, I could actually hand sand, hand block it. I really don't need any air tools to work on it. Really, I've got it that far and that close. So, but I'm not going to work out in the heat when you can't even touch the car. So it's going to have to sit and wait just a little bit. The engine is kind of being a pain right now. I mean, I tried to find a drop-in deal where I didn't have to be distracted with trying to get a motor built and all this stuff. I thought, well, if I find a motor that was ready to drop in, then I could, drop it in and I could make it move around on its own power, because I got everything, for a motor. It just would have been nice to have one that was ready to drop in, and that hasn't happened for me. So it looks like I'll have to take one through a machine shop, and machine shops around here are 6 months, a year out on a project right now. So I'll just have to see what happens, I guess. But yeah, the days of actually going to the salvage yard and saying, hey, I'm going to go get that motor out of that car back there for $150, them days are all gone. And the motors ain't worth pulling now, most of them, unless you can hear it run or something. But the days of just going to the salvage yard and say, yeah, there's 50 of them out there, that's not true no more. And I am looking for an LA motor. I mean, I'd rather do an LA motor. I got a buddy of mine that's got a big block. I mean, but I'm really trying to stay away from the big block. This is a small block car, and I really wanted to go back to the small block world and do that. So that's really kind of the direction I'm going. I've already got a tranny. I've got the converter I want for it. The car's already got gears sitting in it. So, the car's really ready for an engine to be dropped in it. And I'd like to see it be able to start up and run, move under its own power so I can move it around. Being by yourself, it's kind of hard to move a car around, and do everything by yourself. That's kind of hard and I really don't want to do that. So let's see who we got. Ed's Machine. How you doing, Ed? How you been? I haven't heard from you in a long time. Great to see you in here, man. My very first live, and Ed's here. Thanks. I appreciate it, sir. Awesome. It's great to see you in here. Great to see you all in here. I appreciate each and every one of you coming in for the very first Twisted Mopar Garage live show. Sorry, it's kind of boring, and I'm kind of blowing off at the mouth, but just trying to tell you where I'm at and what I've got going on. Wish you was closer, Ed. I got a motor I could send you. You're a little far away for me. I'm sorry. I got a couple 360s. I got some blocks. I mean, one block I'm not too sure about. Maybe it's already a 30 over piece, but it's been had the tops of the pistons pulled off. So but it was supposed to be a run and drive and ready to drop in motor, and it's not. You've been working on, Ed, out in your shop. What's your big hot project in your shop right now in the machine business? A bunch of things. I bet you're swamped, ain't you? I bet you're glad you took a break to come in here and see my live. I bet you're glad to have that break. Sit down and have some ice cream or something, you know. I've been in the ice cream mode here for a while. Don't know why, but I've been thinking about a great big old banana split, you know, like the ones they used to put in a boat and all that. You know, I could use one of them right now. Don't get it, but I'd like to have it. BRG selling a bunch of stuff, really? Yeah, I was kind of joking around with him one time, you know, I don't know, several weeks ago. I told him, I said, man, if that motor don't fit in that Monza, I said, you know, I'm looking for a donation for a motor. You know, I was kind of kidding around with him, you know. I mean, I am up for an adoption, you know. I mean, you know, if somebody wanted to adopt me and send me a motor, that would be awesome. I'd appreciate it, and, you know, put stickers all over my car for you. But I'm just kidding. But $498 Chevy, 440s, a 300 inline Ford. Wow. Yeah. What are you, about 6 months out on anybody's motor right now? If you took one in, Ed, maybe that's what the news I'm getting out around the shops here. I ain't got a lot of shops to pick from, but most of them are out 6 months to a year. That's what I'm finding anyway on rebuilds. And that's just basic, get a rotator. I can put the rotator together. I'm very capable of doing that. Thanks, Macho. Appreciate it. 4 to 12 months. Yep. Yeah, I figured you was right in there. Machine shops are getting harder and harder to find. And a couple of them here that's close to me. I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, you know, them guys are getting up there in the age bracket too, where they're wanting to get out, and there's nobody wanting to jump into this business and do what you're doing and what they're doing. Nobody wants to jump into that. You know, I understand it. It takes a lot of time and dedication and stuff, and you know, it's tough to get into that business. So, yeah. Probably helps if you can get the same light box all together and do all the same work. That way you just, you know, you do one and then lift it off and do the other one, you know, kind of like an assembly line, I guess. Maybe that helped time wise, but yeah, it's still time. I'm gonna have to get a hold of BRG and see what he's got. Maybe I know he ain't got nothing ready to drop in or anything like that. And I probably couldn't afford what he's got going on anyway. So, but yeah, you know, I'm a pretty poor guy, so no, I'm actually on my laptop here in my kitchen dining room area, you want to call it. Yeah, pretty much something like that. Yeah, there's a fan running, so yeah, that's where I'm at. So it's hard to say. Yeah, yeah, get y'all dizzy here and stuff moving that camera around. Sorry. So Yeah, there's several shops that's real. I mean, wouldn't say they're close to me. I mean, most of them are an hour away, but even they're getting. I mean, it's getting harder and harder, for them to stay open, mainly because they're wanting to retire. They're wanting to do something else in life, but there's nobody coming up in that ranks. There's most of them I know are one man shops. It's one guy doing all the work, and it's really tough because you don't see any high school kids even trying to go in these places. Even like Ed, maybe Ed could even say the same thing. I don't know, but I'll bet you that even high school kids that's in high school don't take no interest in even thinking about going to a machine shop and saying, "Hey, do you have any extra work or something like that? Something I can do after school?" I bet Ed probably ain't seen nobody come in his doors asking for that. I'll bet. I don't see it around here. So I'm in Central Illinois. I'm about 60 miles north of St. Louis. That's where I'm at. So I get down to Louisville, Kentucky every once in a while. I get in that area down there. I got a couple of buddies of mine down there. But that's a 4.5 hour drive to Louisville for me. Go across 64. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Kids just, I mean, the throwaway cars got them, they just, mom and dad buys them a new car, and, they don't know nothing about what it's like to, tune a carburetor or, even change a carburetor out. Most of them don't know how to even do that. That's what's sad. We kind of done it to ourselves. I think a little bit. We didn't, I tried to take my kids out when I was working on my race car, and I've had several race cars. So I had a 79 Volare. It was a beautiful car. I don't know where that car went, but it was a beautiful car, 440 car. It was a beautiful. Factory interior was flawless in it. I mean, it was a nice car. That's probably one car I regret getting rid of, was that 79 Volare. I probably regret that because that was just a really, really nice car. Could have drove it on the street. Could have kept it a race car. Yeah. 79 Volare was probably the car I probably regret getting rid of, more so than getting rid of my twisted car. But I don't know whatever happened to that car. No idea. The guy that bought it for me died of cancer several years ago, so I don't know where the title was still in my name when he passed away. I know that, but other than that, I don't know where that car went. Yeah, about 313 miles. Yeah. Like I said, I get down to Louisville, Kentucky. I get down there, and I do get over by Terre Haute once in a while. Over by Terre Haute, Indiana, I'll get over there once in a while. So 313 miles. So yeah, I mean it's not out of question of trying to get something to you to work on, Ed. Well, I'm as far as tractors go, we're doing a revisiting of that 3020, the yellow tractor that's been really a pain. I mean, it's all painted in that, and we rebuilt the motor in that and put it all together. We got it running. The tractor runs, and it wouldn't steer. It went hard right and stayed there. And the steering unit up by the steering column, there's a steering power unit there. We had it rebuilt 4 different times. And now that part of it's working, but John Deere uses a rack and pinion on the 3020s, 3010s, 4020s. They use a rack and pinion up there on the front end. So we got to tear the front end all back out of that 3020. And I've already done it. Took a frame rail, had to take frame rail off. And we have to get in there and take the rack and pinions out. And we got to change all them seals in there and all that and bushings that's in that rack and pinion because one of the racks is not working. So that's where we're at with that 3020. Otherwise, I'd be working on another tractor. There's a 430T that we just pulled in, and I got it running and stuff, and it runs really good. So we're going to get ready and probably start on that. But right now, the main focus is trying to go back to that 30-20 utility tractor and try to get it back together and get it fixed where we can actually move it and do what I should be done with it. Because it's one of 25 built. There's only 25 built of that tractor. So about every tractor that's in my videos are pretty much all rare tractors. They're one of less than 60, most of them that you see in my videos. Like I said, the yellow one's one of 25 ever known to be built by a John Deere. So kind of like that Veely. That Veely's one of two. That Veely car. That car's one of two. There's only two of them ever built. So it's a pretty neat car. I've got to drive it. It's pretty cool. You know, how they done that stuff back in that day, I don't know, but they did. It's amazing. It's kind of like the tractors. If you guys ever get up on a 420 or 430 John Deere tractor, and you try to get up on them tractors and sit in the seat and operate that tractor, there ain't no way most of us could have, even if we was a kid, because them tractors are so narrow. I mean, between the fenders, that's why most of them had the fenders off of them, I guess. You know, they had to take the fenders off because you can't hardly move in there. You got barely just enough room. If you got a number 10 shoe, you're in trouble because the foot pegs and all that stuff are just too much for a big guy. So, but yeah, they're all pretty neat tractors that I get to work on there and restore and paint. So, yeah, they are neat. There's Dizzy Izzy. How you doing, Dizzy? Bob Greenwell, how you doing? How you doing, Bob? Cars in the cut. How you doing? Hillbilly Deluxe. Who the Knitter? How you doing? Anybody got any questions for me? Pretty much answer about any question you want to throw out there. If I ain't got the answer, I'll make one up. Explain why it's called a Hemi motor. Has to do with the combustion chamber. The design of the head, design of the piston. That's what makes it basically a Hemi motor. It's a domed piston and a domed head combustion chamber. Hemispherical, whatever the big word for me to say. Unfinished project. How you doing? Daniel Furler, how you doing? There's Fun Seeker. How you guys all doing? Hopefully I get to do a live. I don't know how I'm going to do the lives. I'm figuring Saturday night's probably a good night to have them. 7 o'clock is probably a good time to have it. So I just don't know if I want to. I'm probably weekly. I'll see how this in here goes out. Hopefully, I can get a little more entertainment value, I guess. I'll put it that way. Try something different, every week so everybody can join in, and I can get some people on here and we can talk and conversate and try to have a good time. I mean, that's That's where I want to try to get to. If I can get to that, that'll be good. You know, I mean, I'd say Saturday, about every Saturday, I'll try to drop a live and see how everybody's doing, keep everybody going. If that works, we'll see. Main Street Mopar, how we doing? Never done. Yeah. I appreciate it, Hillbilly. I really do. Appreciate you coming in, man. That's great. Yeah, I like going over to their lives. It's, you know, they're always talking about stuff, and I kind of like that. You know, just anything off the wall. You know, see what sticks. It's kind of like spaghetti. See if spaghetti's done. You throw it on the wall and see if it's done. That's kind of what I'll do here. I'll see what sticks and what works, what won't work, and then hopefully we can get it. You know, hopefully I can get a decent following going and stuff. I'm not really trying to look to grow the channel big or anything like that. I'll it'll never be a big channel for me. So it's just a place to come in and conversation with everybody and try to get new people to come in and talk and go from there. 55 427 blown front gasser. That's pretty cool. I like them old gassers. I do. They were pretty cool old cars for the boy back in the time. They sure looked crude back in the day when they first built them, but now you look at them, you go, wow, them were pretty cool. But they was pretty cool cars back in the day when they built them. There was a guy in high school that had a 409 Chevy. I want to say it was a 63, possibly a 64, but I want to say it was a 63. It was a 4-gear car because he used to drive it to school. He was a couple years older than me, so I don't know whatever happened to them cars. He had a pair of them. Both of them were identical cars, both 409 4-speed cars. So they're both identical cars. You'd never do, you know, I guess you could know the difference between the two, but they're both same color, same car, same everything. They look twins. So him and his dad built it. So, but he used to drive them cars back and forth to school and high school. Well, that was way back in the 70s, 74, 5, right in there. Because I graduated in 77s when I graduated. So I've done a lot of things in my life. Some things were, you know, for my first job, besides working on the farm, bucking bales and, you know, feeding all the animals and stuff, milking cows. Besides that, I worked in a flower shop in a greenhouse. That was my very first job. Walked from school to there every evening, worked 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours, and I had to walk home to get home. So that was a 12-mile journey walking. I'd done that every day, 5 days a week. I did that. I was a young boy, so that was my very first job. So once in a while, you get a ride. Somebody give you a ride a couple miles down the road, help me out a little bit. Yeah. So he was in the 5th grade in 77. Boy, you are young, Dan. Jeez. There's One-Eyed Cat. He's in here. How you doing, One-Eyed? How you been doing? What's been your projects going on? Daniel, first grade, huh? Wow. Do you remember your teacher's name from first grade? I do. Mrs. Klopmeyer. That was her name. My 2nd grade teacher, I can tell you her name too, Mrs. Fight. And literally her name was Fight. She had one of them big old long pointer sticks with a little rubber thing on it. If you wasn't paying attention, you would be. Yeah. Mrs. Graham. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Best teacher I ever had in grade school was Miss Holiday. She was the best teacher I ever had. Thought the world of her. She was a good teacher. God, I'm going back too old. Man, I'm too old to remember that stuff. Stop it, guys. Nobody wants to remember their first or second grade, do they? Mrs. Hall, fourth grade. Yeah. Yeah. I had Miss Holiday for 3 grades, third, fourth, and fifth. She followed me all the way up through them grades. And then they'd rotate them back. Back in them days, they'd rotate them back. So she'd do third, fourth, fifth, and then they'd put her back to third, fourth, fifth. That's how they rotated teachers in grade school back then. Got married before your senior year. Are you still married to her? Worked at Edwin Cooper Chemicals where they brown gaskets. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. E85 gas is gas with a bunch of alcohol thrown in it. Born in 71. Boy, you are a young feller. There you go, Renegade. There it is, David. That's awesome. That's awesome. They call them a keeper. Yeah, they call them a keeper. Yeah. I like to pull the motor and tranny all at one time too. I don't like to separate them until I get them out. I tend to pull them all together. It's a little bit of a hassle, but I just as soon pull them out one unit. It's something about getting down, up and down all the time, wrestling the tranny to put to the motor. I just, that's the way I'll do this dart of mine. I'll put it all in one assembly. At 25. Congratulations. That's 41 years. Congratulations, man. That's awesome. I made it 31 years. I made it 31 years, but that was 12 years ago. So, you know, that tells you. I couldn't make 32. I couldn't do it. Not that I didn't want to. I just couldn't do it. 31 was it. 31's a long time. So, yeah. 56. I've never owned a Gremlin. Me, I haven't. My brother did. Oh, this ain't going too bad for a little bit of a live. Ain't doing too bad, I guess, for the first one. I've made it an hour, so you know, made it an hour, so that ain't bad. Hopefully, it's been a little interesting. You got to see me and hear me, and you got to hear about just about everything I've pretty much done. I was a police officer for about 12 years, so I made 12 years of being a police officer. So I did that job too. So I fall back on that a lot. So I enjoyed that line of work. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate it, Daniel. I appreciate it. Thank you. 318 on a light car run. a 318 will run anyway. You don't have to do a lot to the 318. You got to understand there's only about 11 or 12 cubic inches difference between a 318 and a 340. So they're basically the same motor, just a little bit down on cubic inches. So everybody says the 318 is just a baby motor. They're not quite correct there, because I've had some 318s that have run right with a 340. So, you know, don't ever underestimate a 318 to run, because they will and they can, and you can make them fly if you really want to. Thanks, Hillbilly. I appreciate it. I'm really trying. I don't know nothing about this live stuff. This is my very, very first one. I appreciate you all coming in here. I really do. It's made it easy. I get to see a little bit. I got to wear my glasses now anymore. It seems like doctor says my eyesight's fine, but I don't believe him, because you know the fine print is getting finer. So either they're changing the fine print or my eyes are going bad. Yeah. I had a 318 and a Duster at one time, and it was unbelievable how it ran. I mean, if I told you how I bought it off of a dealership up in Carlinville, it used to belong to a buddy of mine, and he traded it in on a Roadrunner, one of them first 76, 77 Roadrunners they come out with. He had to have one. He traded that Duster in for it. The Duster was missing. Had 318 on it. Duster was missing. I went up there and bought the car for $350. That's what I paid for the car from the dealer. And I told him it was missing. It did have a set of headers on it. Did have that. And thought, well, maybe it's plug wire cap. I went through all that. It still had a mess. So I thought, well, check the compression. It was low in one cylinder. I think it was number 5. And it had a burnt valve. And I took the heads off, and I took the valve out of another head that we had laying around, and I put it in there, and I actually just lapped it. I didn't do anything else. I just lapped the valve with a ball peen hammer and valve grinding compound and a drill. And that's how I lapped that valve in that head. I put it back in there, and that car run like an ape. I mean, it was a tire frying car. I mean, I ain't saying that because it just fried tires. That car was fast, and it was fast for a 318. I was impressed, really. Yeah. Sometimes you don't have to know a lot about cars. You just know that you like them when you see them, and enjoy them when you see them. And you know, you can't be everything all the time. So, and, you know, I fail at a lot of things too. A lot of things I don't know. And I'm as old as I am, and I learn something new every day about something: tractors, cars, trucks. Yes, they do. And 318's got great potential. I mean, you can stroke them out to about a 390, 392 cubic inch motor, and they'll scream. They really will. And really, for the best bang for the buck, you know, 318, you can almost have them gave to you. So there's really a lot of potential right now. Now that I say that, you probably won't be able to buy a 318 for $800 for a block. Yeah, get the Barrett Jackson thing going. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with 318. You can make a 318 run, and it don't take a lot. It just depends on how fast is fast for you. That's where you got to be at. I mean, ultimately, it's got to be how fast do you want it to go? How fast do you see yourself ever going? Yeah, you know, and that's what's going to limit you. Money will always limit you as far as that ability, but most people always seem to find a way around the money. So. Yes, they did. Yeah, I've got 2 of them 318s, 67 and 68. Both have steel cranks. They both have floating pins in them too, floating rods. It's kind of odd, but the real early ones, if you caught them just right, yeah, they're. Yeah. Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it, sir. I hope everybody's kind of enjoying it. I know it's my first. It's a little rough, and you know, I ain't got everything kind of organized how I, think what I ought to be doing here, because I really don't know. I'm really computer illiterate here. So, yep. it just kind of helps a little bit. I mean, don't save you a lot of money with the floating, but that way you don't have to, pay to have them pressed on, pressed off, and all that. I'd really love to have a stroke 360, really, 408. That would probably be my ultimate goal in my car, to have something like that in it, really, to be truthful. But I'd just be happy to get a decent little 360. Thanks, Ed. I appreciate it, sir. I really do. So I'm trying. Most of you don't get to see much. If you see me, you don't see me in the videos that I make, hardly ever. And this is a way I get to kind of introduce myself and say, hey, hi. And, you can kind of interact with me a little bit. And later on, hopefully I can get some guests to come on, and, we can do it like that too. I want to get to that. So, chatting from the campground. How many fish do you get today, Bob? $150 shot of nitrous. Whew. I don't think I want to play with the nitrous. I like the naturally aspirated, carbureted, nothing added. I want to do it out of the sheer horsepower, what that motor will give me. I could have done that with my race car. I could have easily put nitrous on it, and I didn't. I just didn't want to play with that tick, 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 and pin pull stuff, and have to fix it later. I didn't want to go there, so I always stuck naturally aspirated. Oh yeah, this is my first, believe it or not. Yeah, it's my first. I've been on a couple lives, but I've never been live on my own. So this is my actual first live of my garage channel. So yeah, this is my first. yeah. Pretty sad, ain't it? Not a bunch yet. What's the deal there? I mean, I love to fish. I haven't been fishing since last year. I mean, I need to come and give you a little few pointers there on how to catch fish there, Bob. Probably be a better fisherman than I am fixing that radio of yours. Man, that was something else. I cannot believe that done that to you. That thing was working good on my bench, I'm telling you. Thank you, Dizzy. I appreciate it a lot. I really do. Thank you for coming in, man. Well, what time is it? We after 8? Yep, we're after 8. We're 8 almost 8:15. That's about an hour and 15 minutes longer than I thought I'd ever get her going. But I really appreciate everybody coming. I think I'll get off of here and let you guys have a good evening and everything and enjoy it. Hopefully this weather breaks. They're saying about Tuesday around here, maybe Wednesday to break, and we'll get into a lot nicer weather. So I'm looking forward to that. And hopefully I get back on my car maybe next week sometime. I'd like to have that going on. I'm still going to look around for a motor. I need to get a hold of BRG and see what kind of stuff he's got going on. Maybe there's something there. I don't know. Maybe he'll feel sorry for me, So far, that's not been a happen. But anyhow, guys, I appreciate you all coming in. I hope you enjoyed it. Got to introduce myself to you a little bit. I'll go on with that more as we go along here. But I really, really appreciate everybody coming in. I hope everybody likes it. And if you do, you know what to do. I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to beg. I ain't doing that no more. So if you like it, and we'll continue on with this, hopefully every Saturday about this time, about 7 o'clock, if that works out for everybody. If not, I'll adjust it a little bit and we'll go from there. But I thank each and every one of you for coming in. Y'all have a good evening. Have an enjoyable Sunday, and God bless each and every one of you. So thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it. Talk to you all later.